This video will be covering the Unit 2 review. We'll talk about our exponent rules, as well as adding and subtracting and multiplying polynomials. I'm not going to do all of the problems. I'm going to do a select few that will highlight the rules and concepts that you need to know. And for the rest of them, I will put up the answer along with any important work that you need to remember. Number one, let's start there. We've got a fraction bar. It's telling us to divide, which means we're going to use our division rule. If you look at the coefficients first, so we're going to separate this up, look at our coefficients, and then look at our variables. 24 is not divisible by 16. We don't want to leave a decimal, so I don't want to see 1.5. What I want to see you do is simplify. So 24 and 16 are both divisible by 8. 24 divided by 8 is 3. 16 divided by 8 is 2. So I'm going to start my answer with 3 over 2. Then I'm going to look at my variables. My division rule tells me to subtract, so I do top minus bottom, which gives me x to the negative 5th power. Remember that a negative exponent simply tells you location. So I have 5 x's, and those 5 x's, because the exponent is negative, are on the bottom of my fraction. Number 2 is a simple power rule. Oh, and be aware, I'm just looking at this now. Sorry, I had to pause there for a second. This is going to look a slight bit different than what you see on your review. Your review is in a different order. Yours goes 1, 2, 3 from top to bottom, and the second column goes 8, 9, 10. So make sure you kind of follow along. The questions are the same, but they're in a slightly different order. So just kind of pay attention to that. So number 2, power rule. Make sure you apply the 4 to each part, and you're going to get 81 x to the 32nd, y to the 48th. Number 3, it doesn't matter what's inside the parentheses. If the outside is a 0 power, remember our 0 power rule says that it's just equal to 1. Number 4, we are multiplying. So our multiplication rule, we're going to multiply our coefficients first. So we're going to do 4 times 7 to give us 28. Then our multiplication rule tells us to add our exponents. So our x, we have an exponent of 1 and then an exponent of 2. So that gives me x to the 3rd power. And then I've got y to the negative 9th and y to the 12th. So negative 9 plus 12 also gives me y to the 3rd power. All my exponents are positive, so I don't need a fraction. Everything stays in the numerator with the 28. 5, we have another multiplication rule. You should get 24x to the 17th. Number 6, we've got a division rule. You should get 8x to the 8th. Number 7, power rule. We're going to take a closer look at this one because we've got the negative exponent outside. You want to make sure you take that exponent and apply it to both parts of your term. So start once again with the coefficient. 8 to the negative 2nd power. The power of 2 tells me that I have 2 8s being multiplied together. The negative tells me location. So those 2 8s are being multiplied in the denominator. So 8 times 8 gives me 64. The negative exponent tells me that 64 belongs in the denominator. Next, I've got 2 exponents on my variable. That's my power rule. 2 exponents, same base. I multiply them together, and I get negative 10. Once again, I have a negative exponent, so I have 10 x's, and those 10 x's are in the denominator. So my answer should be 1 over 64x to the 10th. Number 8, we've got a division rule. Should end up in 8y to the 12th. Notice here you have x to the 8th over x to the 8th. Same thing on the top and the bottom is going to cancel out. Think about your division rule. You subtract, so 8 minus 8 gives you x to the 0 power. You have no x's left over, so I shouldn't see any x's left in your answer. Number 9, we should get 1 over 6 x to the 3rd, y to the 16th. Another division rule problem. Make sure you simplify. 3 over 18 becomes 1 over 6. 10, this is just a multiplication problem. You have 3 being multiplied together. So 12 times 3 times 7 gives you 252. When you add all of your exponents on your x's, you get x to the 18th. And when you add up the exponents on your y's, you have y to the first plus y to the negative fourth plus y to the third. You end up with y to the 0, so it doesn't belong in your answer. Number 11, we have a two-step problem here. So the first thing you have to do is your power rule. So when you do that, you get 4 to the third power, which is 64. Multiply your exponents together, you get x to the negative 21st. And in the second part of the problem, 9 to the second power is 81. Multiply your exponents to get x to the negative 10th. Multiply everything together, and you're going to get 5,184. Add your exponents, so you get x to the negative 31st. We don't want any negative exponents in our answer, so we take our x's and move them to the bottom so it's a positive 34. And once again, this exponent here is telling us that I have 31 x's. The negative part is simply telling me that those 31 x's are on the bottom. Number 12, a basic division rule problem. There are some negatives here, so be careful with those. Make sure you do top minus the bottom. Our coefficients simplify to be 7 over 2. When you do 8 minus a negative 4, subtracting a negative turns into a positive. So end up with x to the 12th. And then you've got y to the 5th. Number 13, I believe on yours, this actually says to the negative second power. Two-step problem, I'm going to simplify what's inside the parentheses first. So I'm going to do my division rule, which means I'm going to subtract, giving me x to the negative 12th, negative 5 minus 7, and then y to the 16th. 8 minus negative 8 becomes 8 plus 8, which is how we get 16. Now I've got x to the negative 12th to the negative second power, and y to the 16th to the negative second power. Two exponents on the same base. This is our multiplication rule. So we're going to multiply. Negative 12 and negative 2 gives me positive 24. 16 and negative 2 gives me negative 32. And then we're going to move our y's to the bottom because they have a negative exponent. So we get x to the 24th over y to the 32nd. In 14, we got to do the power rule here first, giving us 121 x to the 18th. Second part does not have a power outside, so it stays the same. And then I can multiply to get 484 x to the 30th power. So those are our exponent problems. We want to talk about our adding and subtracting. Okay, number 21. Numbers are a little bit off here, and this is not the correct review. I'm going to pause here. So we'll go back and watch the exponent rules again if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video. This will be the end of part 1, and then I'll put up a new video that'll cover adding, subtracting, and multiplying our polynomials.